Craving your next action-packed adventure? Audible delivers thrills of every kind on your command, like Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, where a lone astronaut must save humanity from extinction, narrated with stunning intensity by Ray Porter. From electrifying suspense and daring quest to spine-tingling horror and romance in far-off realms, unleash your adventurous side with gripping titles that'll keep you guessing. Discover exclusive Audible originals, hotly anticipated new releases, and must-listen bestsellers that hook you from the first minute. Because Audible knows there's no greater thrill than the one that speaks to you. Discover what lies beyond the edge of your seat. Start your free 30-day trial at audible.com/WonderyUS. That's audible.com/WonderyUS.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
Hey guys, welcome back. So, going through the 1990s as a 20-something cancer survivor, there really wasn't much about your quality of life or your dignity. Kind of like you're cured, go home, get over it was therapy, and that is what we had. Fast forward 27 years, and the idea of being treated without dignity, it's still not great, but there's a lot more attention to who you are as a person in addition to what you're dealing with. Enter Chat Rasdin, who had this great idea that what you put on your body, your threads, your garb, actually play into how you feel about yourself, especially when you have things like rashes and burns from radiation. You want to wear things that are comfortable. You have ports and all these things stuck inside your body. How about easy access to those things without taking your shirt off during grand rounds and 30 doctors in your room? Chat is the founder of Healthwear, which you're going to learn about on the show today. I've been a fan of this guy and his products since 2014 when we first met at CancerCon. He's joining me here for some founder therapy and retail therapy and cancer therapy, as well as to talk about why he lists his high school on his LinkedIn profile. Let's get started. Good to see you.
You too.
See you.
I know, it's weird, right?
What's that about?
I could not be happier to be seeing people again.
Yeah. It's good to be seen.
Yes.
But it's good to see.
Well, for me, it might not be as good to be seen, but it's good to see people.
Face or radio?
Everyone tells me I'm a radio. All my friends say you've got the best radio voice. I'm like, I don't know what they're trying to say.
But can you talk like this?
Yeah, I can't. You're too cool.
On the midnight shift, a little of romance tonight.
Love it.
In all seriousness, we got a lot to talk about here,
Yes.
but I want to first start with a bit of a gotcha question.
Okay.
There has to be a reason why you list your high school on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah. It's actually my elementary through high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was there for 12 years. The reason that I listed out there is honestly all of my past has been a part of helping me create Healthwear. And I think it's, when you think about the amazing people that I learned from, the teachers that helped inspire me, honestly, from the earliest days, that's why I think having your high school is important. I would have my kindergarten on there. In fact, I should probably add that.
I wonder if they're even on LinkedIn. You can create it, can't you?
Probably can, actually. Something I'm going to look into.
I'm going to see a PS4 on Staten Island is on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That was my
It might
kindergarten.
be. It might be. No, all bad jokes aside, I think it's pretty incredible. I met so many amazing people growing up and helped mold me into who I am, teach me about dedication, work ethic, and caring. Like caring and empathy is what caring.
Wait, I'm sorry. Empathy? What?
Yeah.
This is America.
Sorry.
Buddy, get out.
I know.
We don't have empathy here.
I know. I'm already at the edges, right? But that's what our company is about, and that's something that I learned from the earliest days, and I always thought it was important to give credit to where credit's due.
Yeah, and this was in the D.C. area?
Baltimore, yeah. The suburbs of Baltimore, like 15 minutes north.
Was it tough?
The school?
No, I mean just growing up there.
Oh, no.
I've watched The Wire. Come on.
So it's funny. Anyone you meet from Baltimore actually hasn't watched The Wire.
Really? Okay.
We always joke like we lived through it and all that. But honestly, it's like what I assume is anywhere. Like, I lived in the suburbs, not in the city. So I wasn't seeing gunshots every day type of thing.
Yeah.
I think very, very driven people. And I mean, I still love going back.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
So you're a man of Indian descent.
I am.
I'm a
Yeah.
Jew. We have
Yeah.
the exact same culture. Food, guilt, marriage, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Talk about your upbringing.
Yeah. So grew up with two parents that were full-on immigrants. I was actually born in India, but born a U.S. citizen. So moved here when I was like 2 months old. My mom skipped 3 grades growing up. So, I would come home, typical Indian household, come home with an A. Parents are pissed that I don't have an A+.
Not good enough. 98, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly. Ended up graduating, I think, second in the class. And my parents were very upset that it wasn't first. But all bad jokes aside, really was taught how to work hard the entire time. Their definition of success was doing everything to see their children better off than they were. And so both grew up dirt poor, moved their families from India to the U.S., truly were living the American dream, and just helped inspire my sister and I to. My sister's now a lawyer. I'm a founder, and it's been great to have their backing and to know that they're behind us. My dad and mom, if you ever look at our Facebook posts or Instagram posts, you'll probably see my parents liking everything and commenting.
You're the ones following me.
Yeah, exactly.
They will be the listener of this episode.
They are going to not only listen it, they're going to record it and play it for everyone that walks into their house.
So are you first in the family
I
to
am
get
first.
MBAs and...
My mom's a doctor,
Oh.
so she's way smarter than my sister and I.
What kind of doctor?
Anesthesiologist.
Wow. That's an understated profession.
Yes.
It's so important.
Yeah.
They just kind of show up.
Yeah,
No. Please do your job.
Yeah.
You're fantastic. Saved my life.
Yeah, no, exactly. And they are the ones that are there first, right? Because they have to prep and all that. So my mom would leave the house before 5 a.m. most days, work pretty late. You have calls and all that. But it was inspiring. And I think because of them, I got to be in the hospital a lot, both as following my mom around and bothering her when she was on call, and getting to eat. I'm probably the only person that used to like hospital cafeteria food. For my sister and I,
yet you're still here.
and still here, still going into hospitals. But
And you're talking like 1980s hospital food.
1980s hospital
good
food.
kind.
Yeah, we had they had this amazing grilled chicken sandwich, which was just delicious.
You sure it was made of chicken back then?
mean, now that I think about it, maybe not.
Right.
But you could put whatever toppings you wanted, and I'm a big pickles fan, and they had unlimited pickles.
See, that's the Jew in you.
Yeah, probably. That's probably why I'm in New York now,
Exactly.
right? Access to pickles.
Oh, my God. There is a pickle store.
Yes.
On Bleecker Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I need to start going there. I've only had them from other friends that have them, and I'm over their place and eat them. But I need to start going myself.
Well, just to date ourselves, I mean,
Yes.
I think we're both in our 40s or
Late 30s,
similar. Yeah,
sadly.
like Gen X.
Yes, yeah.
So that pickle place my parents took me there in the
Yeah.
1980s with my brother, and back then you could just put your hand in the barrel and fish out pickles.
Really?
They let you get away with it.
Wow. Yeah, times
And
changed.
now today's like tongs, and they have to do it for you, and like you got to wear a hazmat suit.
I was actually at a conference just now, right before this, and they had sandwiches and tongs for the sandwiches, but the tong didn't open up the full way of the sandwich. And so I literally said, it's with all hospital executives, so
Yeah.
you really don't want to be that guy just reaching in and grabbing.
Yeah.
And so I literally spent, I think, 5 minutes figuring out how to open the tong enough to be able to grab the sandwich.
Yeah.
And then I just spilled half the contents on the tray and then had to individually pick them up.
Right, and let's not forget the George Costanza double dip.
Oh, yeah. Can't do that.
You dipped,
Yeah.
and you dipped again.
Yeah. No, I was actually a germaphobe growing up, so I was very anti-double dip. I'm not going to lie.
really?
Yeah. But my way around it is you just dip really strongly.
You just dip
So
really
if you ever see me eating chips and guac, you're going to notice a lot of guac on that chip.
So again, in kind of stalking your
Yes.
career history,
Yeah.
you've kind of been a man of curiosity,
Sure.
to say the
Yeah.
least. I mean, you were always like challenging the status quo, and why is this a thing? And can it just be a little better?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so I went to UVA undergrad. There, we don't call ourselves freshmen, sophomore, juniors, seniors. We do first, second, third, fourth years. Everyone says it's because we have big egos. We say it's because we feel like we're always learning. Thomas Jefferson always said, you never stop learning. And so we would say we're in our fourth year of learning rather than our senior year. And I think I always did like to challenge myself. That's probably with my upbringing of my parents kind of challenging me to take the hardest classes, et cetera. At UVA, I would always take extra credits. When I went to Chicago for my MBA, I did the same thing where I was taking extra classes. You just have an incredible opportunity to learn. Why wouldn't you? And I think that that's something that came out probably more so on the classroom side. And then professionally, I was very fortunate to work for both Kearney and Goldman Sachs, where both of them kind of teach you to always be thinking, what can we do better? How can we improve? And have very strong attention to detail. And I think that that's something that's always driven me.
Right, and the Jewish version is, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Why is that stupid? Can we make it less stupid?
Right.
So flipping that.
I mean, I think that's why you and I are both entrepreneurs now, right? Is we saw problems and we said, we've got to make this better.
And speaking of that, I mean, again, trolling your backstory, we're all overnight successes that took 30 years.
Yeah, no,
right?
exactly.
But you kind of invented things that I think have gone under the radar at this point now.
Yeah.
I found out like this thing called Line Jump.
Oh, boy.
And it was, by the way, just as a funny fact, I read that it was launched in 2009. And I was going to say, like, where were you in 2008 when I wanted Billy Joel tickets to Shea Stadium?
Yeah. No, it was a business school play. It started in business school. We were part of what they call the New Venture Challenge, where a bunch of guys kind of sat around being like, to your point, what is broken? How can we fix it?
Without the word stupid.
We weren't smart enough to think of the word stupid, unfortunately. And so we were just like, oh, well, we hate, in business school, you're going to bars all the time, and you would hate having to spend an extra 20 minutes when you're trying to leave waiting for your credit card back. And so we were like, well, why don't we create an app that lets you connect to the POS and not have to worry about giving them your credit card? Mm-hmm. Big lesson was, if you start a tech company, make sure someone on your team knows how to code. We were 4 guys that ended up going into finance, and none of us really knew how to code. So that was a little bit of a drawback. And then the second thing was learning a lot about the industry. POS systems that we were connecting to actually weren't backwards compatible.
By the way, for the listeners, POS is not piece of shit. It's point of sale.
It is point of sale, yeah.
Jewish POS, piece of shit.
They sometimes could be considered crap, but what's it called? Point of sale. None of them were backwards compatible at the time. So if a bar would upgrade it, you would have to recode and do reconnect with that bar's POS, and that would make it a POS. In your case. And
wait, did it work on like Nokia flip phones?
It did not. It was an iPhone app. So we started with the iPhone.
I was going to go with like Microsoft Zune or something.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Or the ZTE phone.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah. I actually had a ZTE phone. I was staffed in Cameroon in Africa for 3 months working for a wireless telecom provider. And so they gave me a local phone to use, and it was a ZTE.
Wow.
They're actually pretty good, not gonna lie.
What was your first cell phone? You remember?
Yeah. So my first cell phone, or the one that I first used?
Well, the one that worked.
Yeah. So my dad would let me use his cell phone in the early days when I was driving somewhere without him.
Like 90s?
So I would have been 16. So 1999.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So that was the Motorola flip phone, and then switched to
the StarTAC or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then switched to the Nokia 8260, where Snake obviously was the best game ever.
Yeah.
I don't know how that game...
Someone who knew how to code made that.
Yeah, I mean, someone definitely knew how to code on that. Greatest game ever still.
Yeah. No, I would contend that the Tetris on Game Boy...
That was great.
...is the best game ever.
That was a very good game.
Yeah.
I was always a sports guy, so I always liked playing sports games. But Tetris was pretty great. I didn't have a Game Boy, though.
Okay.
Because,
changed my world in high school.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I ended up getting Nintendo and loved that. I literally at the gym call this one exercise the Nintendo track and field exercise.
Oh, wow.
The squatting side to side, the runner squat. Our trainer's going to be pissed that I don't remember the actual name of it. But yeah, it's still in my mind. It's the Nintendo stretch.
Yeah. So one more before we go to break.
Yes,
Another app that you started was like the precursor to Spot Hero.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Am I reading that right?
Yeah, so I didn't start it. I wasn't the founder. I was employee number 11. Helped grow the team to over 20, and it was actually acquired by Spot Hero. So
there you go.
Yeah, so I now own a little equity in Spot Hero. It's,
by the way, not a sponsor, but I'm a big fan.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, look, if you need to get parking ahead of time, these apps are wonderful, wonderful inventions. I realize that if you're going to be working for a company, you probably want to be inspired by what they're building and feel a part of their mission. And as someone that lives in New York City and doesn't own a car, working for a company helping finding parking wasn't the most integral part of my life.
That is strangely ironic. I've never thought about that.
Yeah. So left after a year to start Care Noir.
All right, we'll be right back with Chet to talk about, oh my God, dignity in fashion and cancer.
Are you looking for a new job or want a career change? Look no further than Monster.com. Need a little help standing out? Our expert resume writing services will make sure you shine. Want to brush up on your interview skills? Engage with our AI interview prep tool. Want some advice on negotiating your new salary? Visit our salary tools and extensive library of career advice articles, and you'll have all the tips and tricks you'll need to succeed. Visit Monster.com today and take the first step towards your career. Monster.com. Find your right job fit.
So I was diagnosed, as most people know, like in the Stone Age of the mid-1990s, where get over it was therapy.
Yeah.
And just go home.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
Wash your hands at this stuff and good luck.
Yeah.
And just the idea of empathy, the idea of being thought of as a human being who happened to be 21 and not whatever. I talk about this all the time on the show with my guests. I'm a huge fan of how history is a huge teacher through the lens of advocacy across the last 50 years. Specifically, oncology was like the umbrella for everything else.
Totally.
And I remember joining Livestrong like 7 years after I was like wandering the earth, like what's going on in my life.
We got our first check ever from Livestrong, actually.
That's great.
That was the first money we ever took in.
They changed my life.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you care about me?
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Yeah.
And then in starting my career in the young adult cancer universe, it wasn't really at all about cure.
No.
It was about empathy, quality of life, the dignity of dealing with this stuff, not feeling ashamed, antiemetics and fertility preservation and mental health. Like, this is not about medicine. This is about people.
Yeah.
And just the idea of your idea of like, can I get something that doesn't make me feel like shit? I already feel like shit.
Yeah.
I want to wear something. It didn't occur to us that it was even possible to be, where can fashion, where can nutrition actually wind up helping us? Because it was just so beyond the mind's eye.
Yeah.
And I think there were little things here and there. Remember when we started our e-commerce platform in like 2008?
Yeah.
We tried to find like the softest cotton T-shirts that didn't feel like shit.
Yeah.
And, they said like, what, testicles are for losers. Who needs eyebrows anyway? Like really funny things.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got all sorts of, not really complaints. They were happy we were building this fashion community with comedy. But yeah, a real lesson in like, if you have a scar or a port or you're missing something or like all these things that the invisible side of the stuff are covered up by things you should be wearing in society. Right. We're all born of our condition. What was the spark? Like, this is something we can do.
Yeah. Honestly, it started because I had loved ones diagnosed with cancer getting treatment through what's called a PICC line. The simplest way to describe it is an IV tube that goes in your arm and connects to your heart. And so because of that, if it moves, it's sticking outside of your arm for the duration of your treatment. So for some people, that's 2 weeks. For some people, that's 12 months. For
like
some
it's a
people,
hole in
that's
your
like,
body, basically.
Basically, yeah. And so you would have this basically line sticking outside of your arm, and you now with technology, you can go about your daily life, right? You can go to work, you can go to school, you can go to the movies. We've actually had collegiate runners wearing it while running. So you could do a lot of incredible things, but everyone was being told to wear a sock on their arm. And so I saw 3 people wearing socks on their arms and was like, this sucks. There's got to be something better. And so just to your point earlier about curiosity and always wanting to try and solve it, saw the sock. I knew there was nothing I could really do, right? Like with the pain that they were going through, I couldn't relieve that pain. With the loss of taste, I mean, I could show it with chocolate and they might tell me this is like, I can't taste anything. Mm-hmm. I could give you flowers, but those would die shortly. Like I thought, hey, there's got to be something we can do for this sock. And so just started working with nurses and doctors, very fortunately was connected to the teams at Johns Hopkins and UVA who gave tons of hours just out of love of trying to your point of empathy and caring about their patients, said, we want to help you. And so started creating a better sock, and that kind of evolved into our PICC line cover.
One of the examples I had preceding this was a company called Lymphedivas.
Yes.
Remember them?
Yeah,
I think they're
lymphedema
still around.
sleeves. They are, yeah.
But just the whole idea of the dignity of having lymphedema while you're struggling to hopefully live through this process, it's a horrible side effect. It's a better problem to have than dying. But where can your quality of life and your dignity and your body image and your identity of self be a little more mitigated?
Right.
And just like they did a great job. Anyone listening that's been affected by lymphedema or knows someone is, Lymphedivas, a fabulous organization, and they make basically fashion-driven sleeves that, A, do their medical job, but also don't make you feel awkward, and they're kind of cool.
Yeah. No, and I think, honestly, the most important thing and the thing that I'm forever grateful, and I mean, it's how we met, right? Like I cold emailed you. You had started Stupid Cancer. I thought this was cool. I said,
and I didn't reject you.
You didn't. You not only didn't reject me, you said, wow, this is cool. And you and Kenny were like, we got to partner together. And I'm like, well, I've got no reach or anything. But yeah, I'd love to partner with you. And you guys were willing to give your time. You told me what you thought of our products. Thankfully, it was positive.
These are terrible.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think that in the early days I was an outsider, if you will, right? Like, and I'm less of an outsider than some others might be because I have seen loved ones going through it. My mom's a doctor. I've been in the hospital. I was a patient numerous times with other things. And so the fact that everyone I talked to was excited to give their feedback. I mean, I remember talking to probably over 1,000 nurses at this point in the early days, and they all were returning phone calls, which is unheard of when you're building a startup. People normally don't return your phone calls. People were all excited to help me build it, and I realized pretty quickly, like, hey, there's something special here, and that tells you there's a need when people are returning a cold call and they've never met you, or returning an email, never met you, and things like that. And I think when you think about empathy, it's the people that are going through it that inspire me the most. And I've talked to our investors now about this, where it's like, I can never give up, right? Like people that have much.
Well, it's like entrepreneurial dopamine.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's just like, wow, this is incredible. Like I need to keep figuring this out and keep working.
And you think about it if we're focused on oncology, because we'll get to your business, you've scaled beyond, which is fantastic.
Totally.
It really is about what you didn't know you needed.
Yes.
And no one can't wait to get cancer and wear your stuff.
Right.
That's how things work.
No, it's a weird company, right, where I hope that you never need our products.
Bingo. But if you're made aware of it,
yes.
Where's this been all my life?
Yeah, no, exactly. And we've talked about this with a number, like we now today partner with Oscar de la Renta, which is amazing, right?
Say hello for me, by the way.
Yeah, I will.
We had lunch like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Alex and Eliza are wonderful human beings. Oscar, as you may know, actually passed away from cancer, and it's something that's super personal to them. And we've talked a lot about, hey, these are amazing products. The feedback, I mean, we've gotten loads of surveys from patients.
I mean, I can attest. Like, again, like this isn't really an advertisement for this.
No,
but it's
a
product of history and progress.
I was going to say, if it is an ad, if you go to Karenwear.com.
I mean, it is an ad, but I mean, like my endorsement of this is not like go buy this stuff. It's like this is a sign of societal progress and recognition of I keep saying the better problems to have.
Yes,
is now there's something that's about dignity.
Well, if you think about it, like historically, there were all these studies in hospital rooms, right? Like the color of the paint on the wall impacts your recovery. And it's like, okay, well, if what's around me is going to impact my recovery, why isn't what I'm wearing impacting my recovery as well? And so we've gotten some pretty good data on that. Like with our patient gowns, you see more than a 2-to-1 kind of return when you're getting to wear our gowns rather than the traditional open back gowns.
I mean, do you ask your customers for feedback?
We do, yeah. So everyone that buys from our website gets surveyed. We partner when we sell to hospitals as well. When hospitals buy our products, we ask them for feedback. And what I tell everyone is we'll never have a final version. So you think about Gmail, right? Gmail for over 10 years had beta in their logo.
Yes, that's right.
And that's hundreds of millions of people, and they were still willing to say this is not a final product. We do the same thing with our PIC covers. For example, some nurses said we wish that your mesh window had a little more visibility. And we said, great, our next production run, we made that happen. And I think that's something that we preach day in and day out, that we don't want a final version. Like, we want to continually get better, and that's how you build that connection with your community.
Right, but it's also like a real Venn diagram between consumer
Yes.
and care.
Yes.
I mean, I kind of just, your company name. It's what it is.
Care and wear. Yeah.
I really just think about like people that are getting chemotherapy or radiation. There are burns.
Yes.
I mean, there's creams now that we didn't even have back then.
Right.
But yeah, you're just walking around reminded of, don't look under my hood, but you look great.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. And now the goal is that you can go about your daily life and not worry about how you look and focus on other things in your life that are going on.
I think I know the answer to this, but have you considered looking at this as an evidence-based mental health, like a clinical trial kind of thing?
Yeah, we're definitely always open. I think we haven't run our own clinical trial. We've gotten data kind of showing increased patient satisfaction and stuff like that. We've now started to get other data as well. So the PIC line covers, for example, the Mayo Clinic ran a 3-year study without telling us, which is amazing when a customer does that for you.
Wow.
Found 78% reduction in migrations from using our covers. I used to pitch people 5%. So when they came back with 78, I was like, wow. This is phenomenal.
That's data.
Yeah, that's real
incredible.
data. Yeah, and that's, I mean, you talk about one of the world's leading cancer hospitals in the, it's just pretty amazing to have people like that behind backing you and really helping you drive forward.
I mean, it does harken back to the late 1990s. A lot of the breast cancer ward die-ins were demanding not better treatments, but like antiemetics.
Right.
And white cell.
Yeah.
Like emend or whatnot.
Yeah.
It wasn't about cure. It was about like, I deserve to not be as, like I shouldn't be suffering this much.
Yes.
And this is a wonderful extension of that into like just modern day consumption.
Yeah. No, exactly.
All right, let's do a little founder therapy to round out the episode. I pulled this article about you from maybe it was a while ago. 5 things I wish someone told me before I became the CEO.
Oh, boy.
Can you think of like a few of them?
Yeah.
Pick 2 or 5 maybe.
I mean, what I would have said. That was what, in like 2015?
Was it like, don't do it?
No. I think it was probably one of them was definitely ask for help, right? Like, I think being a founder is a very lonely journey, whether you're a lone solo founder or have co-founders. At the end of the day, it's still you against the world. And being able to go out and ask for help, I think, is so important. In the early days, we had over 10 advisors that were super helpful for the company, who still, many of them remain heavily involved in helping us kind of create better products, think about how to get awareness out, think about how to sell, think about how to just build out our operations and teams. And I think that that's something that's super important. The second thing is that I probably would have said is recognize the wins. I think as founders, you do a terrible job of thinking about how far you've gone, right? I mean, even looking at your office and from where you started to where you are now, right? Like, this is something that you should be proud of and should celebrate. I'm guessing it's something that you probably celebrated once for like 2 seconds and then moved on with life.
I want a new one.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, I mean, we're now we just got a new office 2 years ago, and we're already like, okay, time to move into something much bigger.
You need something nicer.
Yeah, exactly.
I want brick walls.
Yeah. And so I think that that's something that founders don't do a great job of, is celebrating their success. I think we have been around for 8.5 years now. So obviously we've
overnight
grown.
Success.
Yeah, exactly. And it's taking a step back and just recognizing that. I think the third thing is kind of remembering why you're doing it. I think that there's going to be days where stuff is not going your way at all. And it's just remember that and be persistent in figuring out whatever solution you need to achieve.
And just final thoughts here. There was a press release today as of this taping that you're now in What is a chest access blouse? I mean, we didn't even talk about you're outside of oncology now.
Yeah.
You're all over healthcare, helping lots of people. But what's this particular announcement about?
So we have a couple of solutions for chest access in general, for access to the port anytime you need to get to the chest. And so today we've added 2 new blouses. So one is a button-down blouse, and one is just a nice looking blouse that open up and get you access to the port. So it was exciting to be able to expand our oncology section. To your point, we have expanded beyond. And so we want people to know that just because we're expanding into other areas doesn't mean that we don't care about all of our customers that we already have. And one of the pieces of feedback we've heard is, we love these shirts. We wish you had more designs, more colors, more types of shirts.
Need like 80s ColecoVision graphics on them.
Yeah, exactly. One day I hope to be able to kind of print on demand and do whatever you want. We're not there yet, but
you need the Macy's iron-ons from the 1970s.
Right. We still use those in the 90s growing up. Mm-hmm. Those are great. But no, it's a really proud moment for our team to be able to help even more people and to be able to give them choice and selection.
And just to echo that back as we close out, I mean, you're at CVS now.
Yes.
But you're like, why aren't we at Walmart yet?
Yeah.
There's always going to be something else.
Yeah, we're in over 800 CVS Health Hubs nationwide. We're really proud to be working with them. They just created a cancer section, and we're one of the core brands that are part of that. And it's been a wonderful partnership.
That's fantastic.
We're excited to be working with them.
Last question. Mm-hmm. When did you find out what an end cap was?
Yeah, probably in...
Google it, people.
Yeah, exactly. Probably in 2014.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know what a PICC line was when I started the company and had to learn what that was.
Yeah. All right. Chet Rasdin, the founder and CEO of Care Plus Wear. Carewear?
Care and Wear.
I know. It's like a plus sign?
Yeah, because we're here with you, right? So
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Care and Wear.
Care and Wear.
Without the ampersand.
Without the ampersand.
All right. Care and Wear, careandwear.com.
That's right.
My friend, 8 years later, look at us. Congratulations on everything.
Hey, I mean, thank you for being one of the first people to reply to me back in the early days. It's been a ride, and it's been fun, and it's been amazing to have people like you behind us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Gesundheit.
Yeah.
I'll see you next time. Out of Patience with Matthew Zachary is an Off-Script Health production. The executive producers are Matthew Zachary and Andrew McDowell. It's mixed and edited by Kyle Moore. If you like the show, ratings and reviews are always welcome. Leave us a message anytime at 855-AUDIO-66. That's 855-AUDIO-66 to share your healthcare shitness with us, and we might just play them on the air on a future episode. For more information about this show and Off-Script Health, visit offscript.com. That's offscript, no T.com.